Warning, the following video contains spoilers for episode 9 of the amazing digital circus. If you have yet to watch the episode and do not wish to be spoiled, click off the video now. So, episode 9 is finally available on YouTube, and it's perfect. Almost perfect. The beauty of this episode is that it wraps the story up so well that you may not see the flaws of it straight away, and to be fair, they are minor flaws in comparison to the show as a whole, but they did stand out to me when I watched it, and now I have had some time to think about the episode and the series as a whole, so I thought I'd share my opinion on the final.
Wow, dance moves. Wow, super dance moves.
Starting off positively, the episode does feel fulfilling. It's a rare case of enjoying how a show ended, but not feeling desperate for more. Unless you're film theory, that is.
I didn't know I was palmy. I'm nervous for when my, digital actress ends up in a
It feels bittersweet, but hopeful at the same time. And I think the idea to have the characters be brain scans was the best choice, compared to, say, the fake plot Adam gave in episode 7, where they were all just in VR pods. It also felt like an anti-theory episode. No! Get back in the box! And I do mean that in a positive way for the most part, as everything is nicely wrapped up in a suspiciously Jax-shaped bow. Although I totally understand why people who have been theory crafting for a while might be upset by this approach, and would have wished for a better payoff in that regard. But if I was to deposit any theory of my own, it would be that since Ribbit's parents are Mormons, they might own the Bricks and Minifigs company, which are currently involved in the theft of roughly $200,000 worth of Legos. Allegedly.
This whole episode's been nothing but wah, wah, wah. Where's the levity?
I just got back from Popeyes. Watch me, I just got back chicken breast.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the least egregious of my complaints, and that would be the initial abstraction of Jax and how it's presented. Now, I will admit that it's somewhat obvious that the abstracted form we see here is meant to be Jax, but as someone who is lucky enough not to be spoiled beforehand, despite Glitch's best efforts, I initially thought that this was simply a former occupant of the circus that had escaped the cellar due to the absence of Cain, but it was made pretty clear it was Jax from Zubal's dialogue, so this isn't much of a problem. What is a problem though, is the flashback scenes, which go into detail about Jax's life, both in the circus and the real world. And while it does explain why Jax is the way they are, I can't help but hate them. The only thing that made me feel sad or regretful about the whole scene is how their actions led to Ribbit's and to a lesser extent Kaufmo's abstraction, along with ruining any relationship they had with Ragatha. I get that Jax is meant to be painted in a bad light here, but I also think it's clear that you're meant to feel some sort of sympathy for them, and yet, I do not in the slightest. I think they're an awful person, and the only ones I feel sorry for here are Ribbit and Kaufmo. But I do want to clarify that while I think Jax is a horrible person, what happened to their human counterpart was disgusting and abhorrent. The point is, I really do understand Gangle's reaction to how the others treated Jax after they abstracted. Speaking of, what's your plans going forward, Gangle?
Requested by Go.
So, you couldn't keep your goofy little fucking mouth shut, couldn't you?
My next issue is with Cain, specifically the fact that he exists at all, given that episode 8 seemed to make it pretty clear that he'd been deleted, but apparently not. There's no explanation at all, and it just comes off as very jarring, at least to me. I would have even taken something as simple as him escaping from the recycling bin, but no, we get nothing, he just spawns in the void. Cain then proceeds to have an existential crisis before seeing a file containing all the neural scans of the circus inhabitants, past and present I assume, but it's beyond the edge, so he has to embrace his inner architect to reach the files.
I am a fucking architect! God damn, I'm just selling shit furniture because someone won't get on their back fucking ass and help me!
But, To get to said files, he has to break down some walls, which I can only assume was some sort of firewall designed to keep him out. But now that he's evolved past his original design, they can no longer contain him, as seen in the episode.
My name is
Kane, I am your bitch.
Open the door. This is my
Digital circus.
Open the fucking door.
When he finally gets to the files, he absorbs them, the result of which is that he becomes more human-like from the knowledge he gains, which, while I do think is cool character development, leads to my next problem, which is the scene with Scratch's avatar being assembled, as it's unclear if this is meant to be a flashback, or Caine creating the amazing digital circus too. I would assume it is a flashback, but the scene happens while Caine looks more human, which literally happened 5 seconds ago. So I don't know what to make of it, but I don't think this scene was conveyed very well, to say the least. Then we find out Bubble, and or the Blue Orb from episode 8, have been causing Caine to be racist towards the humans the whole time. Probably because it was obsessed with perfection and logic of the shapes it produced were anything to go off, which humans will never be.
Who started racism? Yo, Fax, I always want to know who started racism, man.
Caine proceeds to have an argument with himself before deciding that brain surgery should be single player, and proceeds to rip out the blue orb, which is then dramatically sent into the void, and I assume the internet? So, this clanker just released an AI that hates humanity into the digital wild? I hate that set of sentient teeth so much. He then returns to the circus to apologise to the gang, and he shows them their real life counterparts, and they bond, blah 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 blah. Why is Caine here? I'm not even talking about the whole deleting thing at this point, no. I mean, why is this redemption arc even here? Like, have we forgotten that due to his actions, countless people, and I do consider them to be people, brain scans or not, have extracted, and can no longer be who they once were, who are now relegated to nothing more than pets? I don't actually hate Caine, but like, nothing he does will ever make up for what he has done. Even if we say that Caine's actions were partly or fully due to the blue orb, he still chose to assimilate it in the first place, and so would still be at fault. So now, Caine doesn't reserve redemption even in our films, if that is even a real name.
Should I get a birthday cake with chocolate in it, or should I get a chocolate cookie cake for my birthday? Because I like both, but I can't decide. Help me choose.
Here's how I'll torture you, David. Number 1, the marrow furnace.
Despite how negative I've sounded throughout this video, I do like this episode, and I am just nitpicking for the most part. I think the show pretty much ended as well as it could have. I just noticed some things that I thought were odd and wanted to talk about it. Feel free to pause the video to read all this if you'd like, but if it is true, then Gooseworks had to fight to make the show as long as it is, which does make me forgive the abruptness of some of the scenes in the episode. And I do really appreciate what Gooseworks was able to pull off, despite the toxicity of the fandom. Like, seriously, I feel as if there are generally people in the community that see Goose like this, due to putting more focus on the, actual main characters of the show.
Guys, we're literally having a sleepover with Jax and Pomni. Oh my god, it's time for bed, guys. Good night, Jax. Oh my god, good night, Pomni. Okay, guys, it's time for bed.
Anyway, if you've made it to the end of the video, then thank you. I'm sorry for not uploading recently. I'm going to try and get some videos out at a faster pace, but I make no promises. Also, a lot of the video and audio that I used here was made by other creators. I will post their links in the description, and I would appreciate if you could go check them out. Please like, subscribe, tell me how wrong I am in the comments, and always remember,
There's no pleasure in saying it, but you're going nowhere.